I have a dream, oh, I have a dream. Red, white, and blue, fly free, fly free. I believe, oh, I believe. Will you dream with me?
Welcome to Changing Times. What a beautiful and going to be a very warm day in Southwest Missouri in the Springfield area. We are live at the Axe Media Group headquarters on West Kearney in Springfield, Missouri. And we are so glad that you've tuned in today. And Don, we're going to have a great show. So welcome back. I know you were on assignment, and I am Lynn Morris, one of the hosts.
And I'm Dawn Blackard.
Don Blackard, our co-host. And I tell you what, we've got a great show lined up today. We've got John and Beth Wilson from Light the Way Ministries. And they're going to have an awesome story about what they've done and how they, and through them, the Lord has helped them establish something that's just reaching thousands of people. And it's mostly through music, and they're going to tell you their story. But I think it's awesome because, you know, there's many ways to reach a lost person. And a lot of times you always think about they need to go to a church, to a building. And I was reading some of your information last night, and you're actually tearing down the walls. You're reaching people without the walls. And I think that's awesome. But I want to go ahead and we had got a message this morning from Jim Whining, our bishop and president and CEO of Axe Ministry Group. And for some reason, our donations are down in August. And so this first time, this is week number 21, Don. So this is amazing. They haven't kicked us out. We're still growing. We've got thousands and thousands of people that are watching our show. But this is the first month that we've said this. But if there's anyone out there watching today, and then you know what, there'll be a lot of people watching this afternoon, this weekend, on and on. This is always in the library on the Axe Media Group's Facebook page. And so people just continue to watch this show, and they go backwards and watch shows. And so it's just awesome just to continue to reach people. But if you are led today and you have $10, $5, $100, whatever you have. I mean, the Axe Media Group, if you'll go to axmediagroup.com, and there's a area where it says donation, and you can just check donation, hit that, and it'll take you right to PayPal, and you can make a donation for our ministry to keep these shows like this and everything else that we do through Axe Ministry Group throughout the United States and the world. You can help. And then also, if you're like my wife, who does not like to use PayPal, I think she had a bad experience one time. Usually it works pretty good, but you could just send a check and make it out to Axe Ministry and send that check to 4166 West Kearney, Springfield, Missouri. And I'm not sure what the zip code is.
Probably 65803.
65803. So, and do that, and we would appreciate any amount of money that you have. Don and I are going to be bringing 5 sponsors on in October. We're going to be really proud to talk about these 5 sponsors every week that continue to help grow this ministry, because that's what it is. And then one of the things that you can do to help us and to help our guest today is share this show. Share this Axe Media Group Facebook page. Share it with family, share it with friends, share it with coworkers. When you go to church on Sunday, wherever you have a group of people, let them know what this show is all about. This show is for you all. And we're going to always show you just average people. The 4 of us are just average people trying to do the Lord's work. And we've had many problems ourselves. All 4 of us have had issues. We've had the valleys. We've been down there, and then you go up, and the Lord helps you get back up. And so we're not perfect here on this show. And so I just want you all to know that people out there need to learn that we're in the series of being a difference maker. And what do you always say?
Be the change.
Be the change. And so these people today, John and Beth Wilson, are being the change. They're difference makers in their communities as they go out and do these concerts and things. So we'll go ahead and get started, but hopefully someone out there will make a donation today. And then hopefully someone out there will make a donation to this great organization, Light the Way Ministry. But we're going to go ahead and get started. And good morning, John.
Well, good morning. How are you guys?
Well, we're just great. I tell you what, we are excited. We've had you on our list for quite some time. You didn't know that.
Oh,
but you've been on our list, and
hopefully that was the good list.
It was. I only have a good list. I don't have a bad list, and no, we're extremely happy. You know, I am excited because I actually first saw you. I don't know if I've ever met you guys. But I first saw you a couple years ago, and I know Pastor Jose Ballou at Ridgecrest Baptist Church. His whole family did a Ballou concert one night at Ridgecrest, and you guys were called up on the stage, and I was sitting up real close, and you guys, they were talking. You probably were a sponsor of the show that night or something. I know they called you up and they talked about the Light the Way Ministry, and you also I think talked about the group that you're associated with that provides wells for people. That was just 2 or 3 years ago. At Ridgecrest. I think it was 2 or 3 years ago. I lose track of time.
I've done so many of those. It's hard to remember them all.
But anyway, I saw you. So I knew kind of what you guys looked like. I knew that, but I just don't think I've ever met you. But so kind of let people know, you've been doing this, what, 8 or 10 years? 10 years?
Well, actually, we had just completed our 5-year anniversary.
Oh, 5 year. Okay.
For the actual festival itself.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
But Light the Way Ministry a little bit older than that?
Well, it didn't get, we started it and formed it a year, and then it took the second year to actually really kind of get things going. So this is our 5th year total.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So this year we actually just celebrated our 5th year anniversary at the festival and gave out a few awards to some people who've been with us since day one. And
sure. Well, you had a lot of great sponsors.
We did. We this year for the festival, World Serve International was a presenting sponsor, and they're known for putting water wells in South Africa,
right,
and even the Navajo region right here in our backyard. So they've been a great partner. We're actually going to be doing a few more shows that they're coming in partnering with as well. And,
great.
And, it's great. I mean, typically when you do a Christian show anyways, there's some kind of a child sponsorship or something like that, which those are great and amazing to be a part of. This one was a little unique because it's not children, it's for everyone.
Right.
Water for everyone.
Right.
It's something that we literally take for granted.
Sure.
And I mean, I'm sitting here having a bottle of water right here. It didn't cost me anything.
Right.
And these folks in South Africa and even in the Navajo region, which is our backyard, I mean, this is hard to come by.
Sure.
And it really spoke to us, and we're like, these are the partners we want with us. So yeah, they were a great partner this year, and they provided free water at the festival.
Right. I noticed that. And when we were growing up, we probably all drank out of a hose. I remember, I'd get thirsty outside. I'd be playing all day outside, and you just turn the faucet on and drank out of the hose and stuff like that. And you never dreamed that you'd end up having to pay for a bottle of water or something like that someday. And I think one of the things that you can really make an impact on quickly is bringing fresh water to these countries and these regions that have no water.
Right.
I know our good friend Daryl Tonsing, who's has Gospel for Haiti. I don't know if you know Daryl Tonsing or not.
Yeah, I know him very well.
He's a good guy, and so we helped donate money, and many other people did to build their first well in their region where they are. And I'm just hoping that the area that they're in is not too demolished by the earthquake. But I mean, that poor country has had a lot of problems, and just seems like. But Daryl and his followers have really been faithful, and but that well has made a tremendous difference over there in Haiti.
I bet.
And you can't imagine having to walk miles to get water.
Yeah.
And the empty base is kind of heavy, but the base is heavy, bringing it back all the way.
Yeah, I think one of the things that World Serve did this year at the festival is they had a vase like that. And they had it full of water, and they allowed people, especially women, because they're the ones that mostly carrying these things, the long journey, some 2, 3, or maybe even more miles down the road. And they let them take it and walk around the boundary of the festival a couple times just to give them the example, a firsthand experience of what it's like that they do every day.
Right.
Yeah, 5 or 6 times a day.
Yeah.
So
Well, I tell you what, I've got a lower back trouble. I'm not sure I'd be very good at carrying water.
You
So-
did not see me out there doing it. I'm just telling you that right now.
So but I tell you what, you have to do whatever you have to do. And so, hey, John, let's get into kind of going backwards. And how did the Lord lead you and Beth into this project?
Yeah, sure. No, and thank you for asking that. And we shared a little bit before we went on air today. By trade, I've been in the music business for about 12, 13 years, mostly in the secular world. And we both lived in a small town called Stockton.
Oh, I know.
It's
Stockton,
yeah,
by the lake.
up by
Stockton
the
Lake.
Yeah, it's really a destination point. If you don't know that it's there, you won't know. And being in a small town, everybody knows everybody. They know what they do. I mean, you can't go to the grocery store and get a gallon of milk without your neighbor knowing about it. So everyone knew that I was in the music business. And one day I go to a local coffee shop, and they're on the square, and there's this pastor there, and I graduated with them. Again, we're in a small town, so we know everybody. And I walked in, and he just kind of very friendly guy, nonchalantly asked how I was doing, and talked about, he knew I was in the music business. And he's like, have you thought about doing a concert here in Stockton? Well, let me back up, because before I was not a Christian. My wife and I both, we were in the drugs and alcohol. We knew of God, but we felt that church was not for us. Mostly because the judgmental, we didn't like that feeling when you walk into church, you're being judged, and it just wasn't for us. It was an added problem, and we already had too many of them at that time. So we're like, we're done. We're not even going to try this. And, so to catch back up to speed, I'm in this coffee shop, and this very nice, very, very evangelistical pastor, young, said, you ought to do a concert here in Stockton. And I kind of laughed, and I'm like, no, this town's maybe 1,800 in population on a good summer day. And I said, this town could not support because I was in country music, and I said, a country music concert. And he goes, well, funny enough, I'm not talking about a country music. I'm talking about a Christian concert. And I about lost it. I mean, I just laughed in his face, and I'm like, this is not, no. I mean, I don't need any of that Christian stuff. And I said, plus, from what I understand, there's no money in it, which there still isn't. So, but I said, no, I'm not. I don't think it'd be interesting. He goes, well, what can I do to get your interest? And I'm like, well, I don't know. And he goes, well, how do you do it now? And I said, in short, I find an artist, I book them, and I find a venue and put it together and put tickets on sale and hopefully make money. He goes, so if we gave you a venue and we helped you purchase a Christian artist to do a show, and we let you keep your ticket sales and do the thing, would you be willing to do it? Well, of course. I mean, that's a win-win. I mean, and I said, well, what's the catch? Because nothing's free, He goes, well, it'd be at my church. And I'm like, okay, well, maybe I could still make money, So we ended up, we did this concert. It was a band. I didn't know any Christian artist. All I knew was secular. And I said, well, I need help finding an artist. And he gave me like a top 10 list of artists that he liked. And one of the top 3 was available and remotely cheap. And he goes, well, let's do these guys. And I'm like, okay, never heard of them. A group called Seventh Day Slumber, a style of music that you don't even understand, a hard rock Christian. And I'm like, this is totally not my thing, but it was his. And so we ended up booking this concert, and we're doing this thing. My wife and I.
It was so small, it wasn't a concert. It was a show.
It was a show. I mean, it was probably one of the smallest shows we've ever done. About 103 people were there, and we knew everybody that was there, But we kind of stayed outside in the parking lot. We let them do their thing, and we were in the back parking lot. I was facing her, my wife, and she was part was facing the building, but it was my back. And we're out there smoking, doing our thing like we normally do at a concert.
Planning on getting a 6 to 12 pack on after the show,
Right.
going home.
and just going home. And next thing you know, I'm in the middle of smoking, and I heard someone say, "Hey, John, come inside." And I'm like, I looked at Beth. I'm like, normally when someone says come inside, there's something going on and it's not good. And I looked at Beth and I said, "Who just hollered at me?" She's like, "Nobody." And I'm like, "No, someone just told me to go inside." And so I just threw down what I was smoking and I went inside. And as I go inside, the music wasn't playing. And I thought, oh no, the power's out. Something bad has happened. And when I go inside, the lead singer of this band, his name is Joseph, was telling a story. And I'm sitting in the back and I'm kind of listening, but I'm like almost a little angry because I'm like, this is not a concert. This now turned into church. And I'm like, I got to fix this. Let's get the music going. Let's keep going. You know, let's keep rocking. Let's do this. Because I didn't want to make people mad because they came for a concert, not church. But the other half of me was just focused in what he was saying. He was talking about how, you know, he had been in drugs and alcohol a lot, and how he was in the back of an ambulance where he gave his life to this Jesus, to this Christ. And I'm sitting here listening to this guy, and I'm like, does this guy have a camera in my room or in my house? Because he's telling our story to these people. And that's how sensitive and how close that his story was to ours. And he's talked about how he became this free man, and everything just the moment he surrendered, everything just became it was like a monkey off his back. And I'm like, what? And ultimately, that story changed my life because I got tired of the life I was living. I got tired of the struggles, and I'm like, I'm done with it. And at that concert that we promoted, I fully said, okay, God, if you're real, here I am.
I think it was the altar call that he did.
Yeah.
And asking, you know, who here has thought about suicide.
That's right.
And
Did you guys both go up?
No, she stayed outside.
Stayed outside.
And then
okay.
he did. He said something about, you know, if you've thought about committing suicide, because we've all been there.
Sure.
And 23 kids, I remember that day, 23 kids rose their hand.
Wow.
That gave me something that hit me hard. I'm like, I just did an event where 23 kids said that they thought about committing suicide within the last week. And I'm like, what? So I knew I needed to do something different. I knew that I needed to do more events like this, but I didn't know what it all meant. And I ultimately,
those kids were ultimately gave their heart to Jesus
right.
that night.
That night, which ultimately changed my life. And I knew that I needed to surrender as well. And that night I go home after the concert and had a dream of doing a music festival. Now, in the secular world, I've always wanted to do a country music festival. Always. I mean, that was my biggest passion. And I could never make it happen. Every door that I would try to go through, it would just shut on my face because the music business is tough. Mm-hmm. And the moment that I got that dream, the next day I shared the vision and the dream I got with somebody that happened to know someone that knew somebody, kind of thing, that knew how to do festivals, Christian festivals, and got connected with a group that helped us get our first year started. And this was 5 years ago. 5 years ago, we started our first festival. Was it a one day, our first year? I can't remember now. I think
it was 2 days.
I think it was
It felt like a week.
Yeah, it did. It did. But we did our first year festival in Stockton, Missouri. I think it was a one day, and we had over 10,000 people show up.
Wow.
Praise the Lord.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, oh no, this town freaked out. We didn't know what to do. So we went, our second year, we ended up doing ultimately 4 days, but it was kind of a ending with the church Sunday service. But we did a 3-day festival. And in 2018, we had a little over 21,000 people show up in Stockton, Missouri. Mm-hmm. And we were done. We outgrew it. At that time, we were under our old name, which was Light the Lake. And
okay.
And then we like, I felt God pulling us to the Springfield area and didn't know anyone down here. The only ones we knew was some of our partners.
He would
And
just drive around and talk on the phone and asking God, "Hey, what's next? What's next? We've outgrown this. What do you got for us?"
right.
And you met David Klaus.
Yep. Met David Klaus, and we ended up seeing this piece of property over by a building that he owned.
Mm-hmm.
And 2019, we changed our name to what it is today, Light the Way Ministry, and ended up doing another 2-day festival in 2019, and ended up having over 40,000 people in attendance. And then we just came off of our recent one this year. We missed 2020 because of COVID, but we ended up doing a Lauren Daigle concert anyhow.
A drive-in.
And but this year we just got off of doing a festival this year, 2021. Attendance was a little bit lower, but still amazing.
Yeah, I was there, and so it was awesome.
Yeah, a little over 10,000, I think. And
but how many have you had at Rogersville? Because your biggest concerts are at Rogersville.
Yeah, the biggest thing that we do is the festival, and this current one was our second one in Rogersville.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we're kind of still newbies to the community.
Well, honestly, it's just that land is awesome. The site is great, easy to get to off the highway. You always have great volunteers, so everyone is so gracious and helps you get to the old people like Janet and I trying to figure out where we're supposed to go. We went the wrong way the first time, and they took us to the right way, and we had VIP parking, so we parked right by the gate. We carried our lawn chairs in. We sat right by the lemonade stand in the shade. And watched King and Country and all the other entertainers and things like that, and it was an awesome night.
Well, it's always a great experience, and because of you enjoying that experience is not because of me and Beth, is because our volunteers and their heart to serve. And, actually, Beth, you were the volunteer coordinator, so you coordinated. How many volunteers did we have?
A little over 200.
Wow.
Over 200.
And it takes that, but it takes the leaders like you that get the vision to make it work. So Beth, what do you exactly do? I know what my wife did in our pharmacy business. I might have been the president of the company, but my wife was the CEO of me. And so
I like that.
Yeah.
Yes, that's exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah. And my story is a lot like too. I don't want to take out your time, but our first day in opening our first store in Ozark in 1977, August 20th, we filled 12 scripts. And, you got to fill 150 to make any money, to break even. And back then you had to. Mm-hmm. And so obviously 12 scripts was not enough. But God led miracle stories throughout 42 years. We got up to the last 2 or 3 years filling between 1.2 and 1.4 million scripts a year.
Oh my.
And you do that, and we did that through 26 stores. God just continually blessed us. Not that we didn't have some valleys that we had to climb back out of, but over time, each time we were led back up to the top and stay up there for a while, and then something else, some insurance company or the government would mess you up again. But so what do you do to keep him in line? Because he's driving around making phone calls and trying to find sources. But
well, the first few years, our children were younger, so I tried to help out as much. So I basically was there for emotional support and making sure he was physically supported. And this year was the first year I was completely and fully immersed into Light the Way, and it just made me proud, and it made me appreciate, and just basically I was in awe of what he does, seeing everything he does. And he doesn't do it mainly for his family. He does it for everyone.
Right.
For everyone, because, and it shocks me that it's still not his vision. It was a vision given to reach people who are lost. Through music, that's how we came to know Christ, is through music, because can't say who quoted this, but music has a way of sneaking into your heart and into your mind without your permission. So, and we wanted that for everybody else, because we figured if it could reach us, it could reach somebody else for sure.
Yeah, I would say too, her role as full time now in the ministry, and I'd actually have to say something. This interview right now that's happening with the both of us is our very first one together.
Well,
Oh,
great.
yay.
Good.
Yay!
Right
Good
here
deal.
on Acts Ministry.
job.
So we're excited about that. So, but that being said, her role has been just she came in and took over the volunteer side, took over the partnership side, and maintaining that stuff, and just learning and seeing. So this is a learning
I'm
year.
still learning.
Yeah,
Well, I think we continue to learn.
right.
Every year we're alive, we continue to learn. That's
Yeah,
why
if
I try
you're
to
not
tell.
learning, you're doing something wrong.
That's right. I try to tell
So-
my grandkids that. Hey, you're never going to quit learning.
Right.
Pay attention to school. Keep
Right.
learning, and you'll continue to learn.
Right.
So, well, that's awesome. One of the things I just know it's true. So you do these concerts. I mean, that was tremendous how you pulled that off with all those different acts and how everything was so organized. But I know that takes a lot of work, and you don't just do that in 2 weeks or a month. You're planning for a whole year
Yeah.
out,
Yep.
aren't you?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. We're already planning for 2022.
2022.
Mhm.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
In between all the other stuff that we do.
Well, I think Don was, you had mentioned something while we were just talking before the show about maybe a concert you're working on.
Yeah, that you've got something coming up. We're not going to say what it is, but there's something coming up in January.
That's right. We'll tell the two of you when we're off air.
Okay.
That's great.
All right. All right. But so you've already got something, and I'm excited because I'm going to try to follow you guys now, since we went to that one in Rogersville, and I'm going to try to follow you wherever you go and try to support you financially. And I've been putting this on Facebook. I've been sharing this with friends at church. I go to a large church, James River, and I try to tell everybody what I saw.
Well, we go to James River too.
Oh, do you? Okay,
Yes,
great.
we do.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Well,
Yeah.
and Lynn, at the bottom of the screen, we have their website for Light the Way,
Yes.
ministries.com. So anybody can go on there and make a donation and share this and donate and share. So
Yeah, there's so much on our website. We're starting a blog,
which
ministry
it's a nice
blog.
website, and I'm
Yeah.
judgmental on websites.
Oh,
So
really?
I always give people feedback, and I'm like, "You've got a good one. I like it." It's
She'll tell us the truth about our website after the air.
well, there's a couple of things I want to say. Your name, Light the Way. Everybody needs a light right now more than
Right.
anything. We need a
Right.
Holy Ghost overdose
Right.
on our nation is what
Amen.
we really need.
Amen.
But I've always found that whenever God gives you a vision, he lights the way.
Right.
And it really makes it so much easier, even though there's still obstacles and there's still valleys and all of that. Like God showed you the land, he led you to the people, he got the support behind you.
Mhm.
And when you know that God has opened a door, he's going to keep opening doors. And
Yes.
I think he opens doors faster than we can walk through them.
Mhm.
And that's when you really know that you're walking under that anointing that the Lord is saying, yes, yes. And for Lynn and I, with the be difference makers and people that are being the change, we really want to see that one person, one family that gets the vision from the Lord can change thousands, millions of people. And you just have to be willing and obedient. And that's what you guys have done. And now you're getting to really not only get to see the harvest, but you're having fun. And you're showing
Sometimes.
people that, it's fun to be a Christian. It's an
Sure.
adventure.
Well, and our foundation was built off of taking church outside the walls. You'll see
Mhm.
that slogan. I call it a slogan because it is, but it is our heart. It is where we came from. We didn't feel church building. I mean, when the Bible talks about church, that's us. That's us
Mhm.
individually. That's
church.
not a building.
Mhm.
When Jesus was here, he wasn't inside buildings. He was a few times, but not much. He was out in the streets going to them. And that's my heart. And because of our background, we didn't feel like the ministry was inside of the building. Ministry can happen.
Mhm.
That's on church on Sundays and Wednesdays. That's great. That's your storehouse. That's where you go get fed to go out into the streets and preach the word and present the gospel. But unfortunately, sometimes people like us who were like that 5 years ago, it almost ruins us. It's like,
Right.
we don't like that feeling of being judged and stuff. So we try to do events to where it opens up for everybody to come. I don't care if what your background is. I mean, I think in 2019, I remember getting a call from an organization out of state, and they really wanted to come and listen to some great music. And they heard about our event, and they were scared because of their beliefs. And I'm like, well, what's the matter? And it wasn't the LBGT, whatever it is, but they were, they believed loving everyone and same sex and things like that. And they said, would you allow us to come? At first I had to check in my spirit. I'm like, are you going to come and riot, or what are you going to do? And I didn't ask that, but at first I had to check in my spirit. And then real quick, the Lord said, yes, because this is why I called you to do what you're doing, is to take church outside the walls. And I told those people that called, and I said, you are absolutely more than welcome to come, and we won't judge you. I said, what we will do is we will love the hell out of you.
Yeah. Well,
literally.
Yeah. Well, that's great. That's one of the reasons why Don and I think we are a good fit with Acts Ministry, because ACTS, because I was talking to a lady yesterday and she thought it was AXE, Acts. And I said, no, it's Acts. I don't guess I pronounce things right, but it's ACTS, and it's non-denominational.
Yeah.
And honestly, there's a lot of great churches out there
There
of
is.
different flavors. It's kind of like me. I love ice cream, even though I'm diabetic. and I haven't found a flavor that I don't like yet. So that's kind of like the churches. There's all kinds of buildings with all different kinds of beliefs inside, but we all serve the same God.
Absolutely.
Okay?
I think the thing is once you understand the love that comes from Jesus, and you accept that, then it's our job, and then it's the church building or the church organization's job to disciple that, to train them. And that's where we were at. I mean, we're new Christians. I got saved 5 years ago. She followed suit about a year. Was it a year and a half or a year afterwards in Branson?
Oh, it was the next year.
It was the next year. So, I mean, we were an unequally yoked family.
That was a fun time.
For the first year. She was still on drugs, and all my addictions were gone. I mean, they just
But
left.
you had to keep watching John and the impact of what Jesus Christ had done for him.
I didn't think that way.
You
at
didn't
the
think that
time.
way to begin with? And so
No, Satan was heavy on there. He didn't want to lose me. So I didn't see the way he saw it. And it took me seeing, I think it was a 4 or 5 year old boy during praise and worship, just giving his heart and just had his hands up. And I'm thinking, a 5-year-old child has that. What am I doing? Why can't I feel that way? What does he know that I don't know? And that's where it started for me, was seeing.
how much better though your life is today? It's like
I got goosebumps right now.
It's like night and day, right?
It is.
So
night
people
and
out
day.
there, you can be that way. You can turn from night to day.
Absolutely. And there's we're walking testaments.
It wasn't easy.
No.
It's a choice that
It's
he gives
still
us,
hard.
and you have to make a choice regardless if you want to or not.
Yeah.
It's still a choice.
And your testimony is going to impact people differently than your testimony is, and that's why God works for each person, so that they can bring their testimony to the world and make a difference through that, and people will relate to you. And I'm
At
so glad
first,
you guys are
sharing
here.
our testimony. I was slightly embarrassed, ashamed. But then when we did a testimony video and we played it at 2019's festival, I had people coming up to me and, saying, I went through the same thing, and it just really spoke to me. And now seeing where you're at today, it just gives me hope.
Yeah, absolutely. We put together a testimony video that's on our website. It's 19 minutes long, but it's a tell-all. We didn't hold anything back. And I encourage anyone that's watching right now, after this show, go to our website. It's right there on the front page. It's our story. Watch that video. And we pray that our true testament is something that helps you in the situation you may be in right now.
You know what's amazing is, guys, Jesus is always ready.
Yeah.
He's waiting. You may not be ready. You were ready before you were ready.
Yeah.
And different people have different circumstances. But when you're ready, he'll be ready, and he won't
Right.
let you down.
Well, that's the
And-
thing. People run from him.
Right.
They think they can hide from him, that God doesn't want anything, that God abandons them or whatever. It doesn't. He will come after you every time.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
waiting,
Yeah.
willing, and ready. All you have to do is make the choice.
And
Well,
you'll fall back sometimes. We all fall
We're all
back into
human. We
things.
weren't perfect.
But he's ready to pick you back up and bring you
Mhm.
back up again.
Well,
So,
the key is the Bible talks about that Jesus left the 99 for the one,
for the one, and
for
you
the
are
one.
the one. Everyone's
and
the
that
one.
one is the person listening right now.
mhm.
That he's, maybe the Holy Spirit's tugging at your heart when you're listening and you're struggling. You're that one that Jesus is coming for.
He doesn't we don't call him Redeemer for nothing.
Right.
So he will redeem you. He will refresh you and renew you.
You just
So,
have to allow him.
mhm.
I am glad that you're doing this outside, without walls, like you said, because that to me sometimes church is intimidating. One of the reasons why the buildings are intimidating, but I think it's nicer today. I remember when I was growing up, people always dressed up. The women always
Mhm.
dressed up. The dads had suits on or sport coats,
Right.
ties on. I had to wear a tie every day and a suit every day up in Jefferson City while I served as state rep. And I was always dressed up.
Mhm.
And now you can go to church. I go to church with jeans on.
Mhm. Or
like
shorts.
or shorts. Well, I got skinny legs, so but just a shirt out. I don't even have to tuck it in. Brush your teeth, comb your hair, and go to church. You don't have to be fancy. Okay,
Right. It's a little bit more
And
acceptable.
so
this day.
I think people accept people, and we all need to accept everyone that comes
Exactly.
through that door.
We live in a
okay?
world full of judgment, and people that judge, and what we need to realize is it's not our place to judge.
Mm-mm.
It is
Mhm.
not our place. We need to stop doing it.
Well, we're going to run out of time. What else, John, do we need to talk about? We're going to have probably, I don't know, about 2 or 3 minutes. Matt's going to come back in, and he's our tremendous engineer and producer of this show, and he's going to tell us we're about to run out of time. But is there anything else that we need the people to know about Light the Way Ministries? They need to look it up on Facebook, study you guys and stuff like that. And
Yeah, absolutely. Well, again, we want to thank you guys for allowing us to
Yes,
come on
thank
today. It's been an honor. So anything you want to find out about us, you can find us on lightthewayministry.com. That's with the Y at the end of ministry. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat, Instagram, and TikTok. We got a huge following on TikTok, over 100,000 followers on
Really?
TikTok,
wow.
and we do a lot of fun stuff on there.
Mhm.
So yeah, all that information is on our website, lightthewayministry.com. We have several concerts. We're working on a Christmas one that we're going to be
Wow.
announcing probably the next couple weeks.
Okay.
And then, like you mentioned earlier, we have another one in January that's going to be coming up as well too, that we're going to be announcing in September. But all those details is going to be on our website. We'd love support. We're looking for monthly donors. We have
Yes.
0 monthly donors right now.
Really?
0. Not
Yeah,
one.
because what we do, unfortunately, is not free.
Yeah, it's very
Right.
hard for what ministries like us is very difficult.
We'll work on
Anybody
that.
can help.
Yeah.
Anybody.
Okay.
Yeah. So all that information you can find out on our website again, lightthewayministry.com, or give us a call. We love talking to people. You can
Yeah.
call our
So
office.
what's your
and-
number?
Yeah, our office number is 417-319-1338.
319-1338.
Yes.
417.
Yep.
Okay. Well, I tell you what, Matt, how much time do we have left?
1 minute.
1 minute. Well, I tell you what, just an awesome testimony today, and God will continue to bless you guys. I know He will, because you're doing the work of what He wants us to do down here, and we can do it in so many different ways. I'm encouraging all the people that watch today, either way watching it now right online or maybe watching it later on, to maybe think about donating to Light the Way Ministries. Why don't somebody may out there be the first monthly donor?
Mm.
Okay, just be the first monthly donor, and then if you set it in your heart and you can't afford to do it, then help the Acts Ministry Group too. We would sure appreciate that. But honestly, this is what's saving our world right now. Things that you guys do. So, what do we always say when we wrap up?
Be the change.
Be the change.
Be the
And we'll be
change.
back next Wednesday, 10 a.m. Have a great day.
1, 2, 3. Can I get a hoorah from a